We are live from the overcast, cloudy track. Coach Dave Schwartz. Nice hoodie, Dave.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Samir is here with us.
Everyone.
Samir did the
One
official
of Golovkin's translators.
official translating for the LA Live event. And Doug has a
I
Triple
got the
G.
memo.
Yeah.
You got the Triple G.
Coach
hoodie
and I
on, too.
always coordinate our wardrobe. That's very important.
Very nice. We had and it's not raining, not as wet as the StubHub Center last night. That was a downpour.
I haven't seen that fight in its entirety.
That was a great
I still
fight.
have to watch it. Yeah.
That was a really good
I
fight.
had to watch the Showtime shirt.
Oscar Valdez and
Let's see if you have this shirt
And-
on
and
underneath.
quick.
What you got here?
what's
Speaking
Dave?
of drugs, we're just speaking of drugs.
Oh,
Here's the king of drugs.
hey, I
Eloy-
shared the
Eloy,
ring with that guy in
Eloy
2010.
Perez.
Eloy
We got
Perez.
we had big topics last week.
No, I'm geeking out.
Maybe
Coach.
some.
I'm
What
doing-
do you have? Oh, you
I got the X-Men.
yeah.
Old school, throwback, Bronze Age
There you go.
X-Men. There you go.
There's been a few
colorful, huh?
a few things with Triple G and superhero characters. And
Really?
Stuff like that. Yeah, like him sparring with the Hulk and.
Oh
things
yeah,
like
that's
that.
a good. Yeah, there's some good superhero photoshops with Triple G.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well,
So we
you know
should
what?
talk
You
about-
guys, if he wins on May 5th, he'll be a
Samir,
superhero.
You want to do the camera?
Yeah.
All right.
Can do that.
Hey, let's just start off first
If there are any
with
comments, do I ask them? Like ask questions?
Yeah,
Yeah,
said
if you can make them out, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sure
you can
there's
read
it was a good. Yesterday was a a day of boxing.
It was a great day of
oh,
boxing.
sensational. And how
Yeah.
about golf?
Well,
Tigers-
Tiger Woods
That
is
I missed.
Oh,
he's
my
back.
God.
Tiger's back in the hunt. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was the best night. You had the ESPN fights, the Showtime fights, the Showbox the night before, and Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tom, were you able to watch the Showtime main event?
I was going back and forth.
Oh, you were?
Between Mikey Garcia.
Yeah. What did
who's,
you think about Mikey Garcia's performance against Sergey Lipinets?
Look, Mikey, I think is a top world class fighter. He's shown his mettle.
Without a brain, though.
Every time he gotta be careful with the. But,
I mean, turning down the Cotto fight,
Yeah, the Cotto fight. Yeah, he said.
that's crazy. I mean, I don't know who's in his ear, but I think it's Richard Schaefer.
I don't know, but definitely great fights. And then I stayed at home. I watched. I wasn't going to the StubHub last night.
I was on my way to the stuff.
But that was a great fight. Abel Sanchez.
I turned back.
Had a good. He had a good win. With,
Saucedo was in a tough fight
It
too,
was a
wasn't
tough fight. He
yeah.
looked good. Yeah.
Yeah, but he gutted it out.
And Eric De Leon against. Who did
Andy Vincent. That was a draw.
That was a draw.
10-round draw.
Very close
Yeah.
fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very close fight. So
Good fight.
It was good boxing.
That was a quality co-feature. But when I get home, I'm going to watch the featherweight main event
Yeah.
in its
that's a good
entirety.
one.
I like both guys so much.
They-
I like Valdez and I like Quick so
They
much.
both took
Yeah.
a lot of wear and tear in that fight. That's one of those fights that really both of those guys put it on the line last night.
That's what it's
And
all
you
about.
couldn't tell it was raining there. You know, they talked
Well,
about
with
it.
the
but-
zoomed in camera, once
Yeah.
they when
Once
they
they
panned
pulled
out,
out, you saw it
could
come
see
down,
all the-
yeah.
Pretty bad, yeah. But it was good. They did a good job.
Yeah.
They got that off. So let me just ask a couple birthdays here, okay?
Birthdays? You gonna do the birthdays? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna. Okay. So how old is Junior Witter?
Junior Witter is a former WBC super lightweight title holder from England.
Who won the title from?
Timmy Bradley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim Bradley was
Nobody
commentating.
gave him a chance.
Tim Bradley went over there.
Yeah. Yeah, he fought him in I don't know where, somewhere in England.
saw
Witter
it.
though, shoo. Witter's first title shot was against Zab Judah. It was in Scotland on the undercard of the Mike Tyson-Lou Savarese fight. And Witter stank it out, and you thought this guy's not going anywhere, and then he went on a nice win streak and won the WBC title. But if that was his first title shot, and that was 2000, I think when Tyson fought Savarese,
Use your
this is
powers
how
for
I,
protection.
yes, yeah. So I'm gonna figure, he was like mid-20s then.
Right, plus 18.
Yeah, plus 18.
You're mid-40s.
So I'm
right?
gonna say, yeah, but I'm gonna say maybe he was a little bit younger. So I'm gonna say 43.
What do you say, Tom?
25
Going-
plus 18.
I'm going
I know that's not
40.
You're You got it.
44.
You got it. Exactly.
What is it?
44.
Oh, wow, not bad. Okay, I was close, though.
I saw, speaking of England,
That's how my mind works.
I saw Eddie Hearn last night. He was there with Scott Quigg.
Yeah.
We talked to Eddie. I actually met a lot of the folks afterwards in the Marriott Hotel there. And Eddie still wants to do the Carl Froch Triple G fight. If Triple G can beat Canelo.
Yeah.
Carl's a legend over there. He wants to do that in Wembley Stadium.
Carl's got itchy fists. He's
he's
wanting to come back.
I don't know.
Is he bored?
I think Eddie wants him to come back.
Eddie wants him to come back. I don't
Wants to
know.
come back, so.
Because he had the beak.
Yeah, he had.
And then he had a nose job. I'm like, really? You're going to get back in the ring?
We put that in the agreement. In the offer, he said we'll pay if he has another nose replacement or adjustment. Then
nose replacement
we'll
clause.
pay for that. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
that
fair.
is fair.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever been involved with a fighter as a manager or promoter, particularly on a large stage, where your fighter did not make weight? Like Eddie Hearn had that situation on Friday with Scott Quigg, and a couple weeks back, in Japan, we had Louis Neri coming in grossly overweight against Shinsuke Yamanaka
That was
in
big
their
news.
rematch.
Neri and Quigg was big news, and
Yeah.
they couldn't agree on a second day weigh-in. Not on a big stage like that, no.
Never, huh?
No.
So Obakar, Kevin Kelly, they always made weight, huh?
Kevin was always meticulous about his weight.
Yeah. Shane somehow made 135. I know that was hard
Yeah.
for him.
I was only working with Shane during his 135 days when he
Right.
first won the title. I got him the title shot on HBO, but he made that jump. A lot of people forget about that. He made that jump straight from 135 to 147 when he fought Oscar.
Yeah, he jumped over
That was a
140-pound
huge-
division.
yeah,
It's a
that was
great
huge
move.
jump. And Kell Brook had a big win last week at 154.
Yeah, were you impressed? Did
I
it
was
surprise you?
Well,
Rabchenko's not a bum.
he's not a bum, and 154 is finally fighting in his right division.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know why he went back to 147. I mean, he was bigger physically than Triple G at 160,
Yeah.
and he went all the way back down to 147. So that was I don't know why he did that. He should have just gone straight to 154. But he wanted Eddie said it was his pride. He didn't
Pride.
want to vacate the title. So
Well, had he vacated the title, everyone would have said, you're running from Errol Spence Jr.
that's true. Yeah, but I mean,
Isn't really a
in-
bad
in his
idea.
particular
As Keith
situation-
Thurman knows, he's like, yeah.
But everyone knew how
I'm
big.
smarter than Kell Brook.
How big of a welterweight he was. So
Yeah.
I think he would have gotten a pass in that particular situation, especially if you fought Triple G. You can't.
Boxing
question-
fans don't give out passes.
Can't question his heart.
Especially if they don't like you. So I don't know. So that's never happened, huh?
Not on the guys that I've been working. I mean, Abel Sanchez also.
Right.
He'll get rid of a fighter before he'll let them miss weight.
Right,
So and he
right.
starts very early. He
Well,
starts
yeah, and
very
you would
early
think
in
the
process,
trainer's reputation is on the line as
Yeah.
well.
measuring the weight. Yeah.
With that Louis Neri fight, the Japan Boxing Commission suspended him indefinitely.
Right.
He's banned for
Can't come
life
back to
from
Japan,
fighting in
yeah.
Japan. Yeah,
And
and I think the WBC did the same thing. So I don't know if he can ever fight for the WBC title again or be
or
ranked by the
Japan,
WBC. Yeah.
So
And
we
we
know
have-
Bennett's not the commissioner over there.
There was an outroar in Japan by the fans,
Yeah.
which is very rare. With Japanese
that's
culture.
a dangerous, just like PEDs.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous.
But they felt so bad because
Situation.
Neri had the clenbuterol situation in their first fight last August, and he tested after the fight. We know for sure he was competing with clenbuterol in his system, and really the WBC should have declared the title vacant or stripped him, but they let Neri keep the title, and they just mandated a rematch, and then Neri came in real heavy for a bantamweight. He weighed in like 5 pounds heavier, and then he lost 2 pounds, but still came in at 121, which is a junior featherweight. Probably rehydrated to junior lightweight, or heavier, and demolished poor Yamanaka, who's an older fighter and beloved in Japan. So the Japanese fans were pissed off. So the commission, unlike the Nevada State Athletic Commission, there's outrage that the Athletic Commission in Nevada should have at least suspended for a year Adelaide Bird and said, hey, she's going to undergo some training, we're going to watch her and bring her up slowly, and they didn't do that. The Japan Commission's like, no, we're going to listen to the people. Hey, we promise you, this Neri guy is never coming near the island again.
And clenbuterol now was in the news. Now it's the highest profile case, I think,
Yes.
Ever in sports testing history.
Yeah.
It dominated the sports headlines. With,
It pushed poor Deontay Wilder right off
nobody
the
was
boxing
talking about the
headline.
heavyweight championship anymore. Yeah.
Now he had like 2 days
it
to
was bad.
bask in that glow.
Bad timing
Yeah,
for
it
Deontay.
sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Okay, so I have another birthday here. Virgil Akins.
Virgil Akins, wow. God, you're going back, man. Is he still alive?
Do I get a pass if I don't know?
No, I don't. You know,
I mean, he was a real good junior
I'll tell
welterweight.
you whether he's alive or
Yeah,
not.
he fought some good fighters. Wow.
But
I think he's like a '60s era dude, man. Virgil Akins, '60s, '70s.
I saw him fight at the Olympic Auditorium. Who did he fight?
At the Olympic?
Don Jordan.
Oh, Don Jordan. He probably either Jordan beat him for the welterweight title, or he might have beat Jordan. Jordan was a welterweight.
Jordan beat him twice.
Yeah, Don Jordan was a welterweight champ out of Long Beach.
Yeah, what was Jordan's nickname?
I don't know, the Longshoreman.
Geronimo Kid.
Geronimo Kid, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
and he
that.
was with the mob.
Oh, okay.
Was he native, or why did they call him
He
that?
might have had some
Yeah,
Indian
he had some,
ancestry.
but, you know,
he was a mixed dude, he's an African American dude, but you could tell he was mixed. Yeah.
Do you know who his trainer or manager was?
Jackie McCoy. That was Jackie McCoy's first champion.
That's Dave's era at the Olympic
Oh
Auditorium.
yeah. So shoot. Let me
And
think.
everyone else's too.
Yeah.
Hey,
But I mean,
Akins. I'm going to
yeah.
say Akins. If he's alive or not, I think if he's not alive, he would be. I'm going to say 79 or 80.
78.
He's good. That's a better man. Like I'm just going to go one more or one less.
I'm going the Price is Right.
That's good. Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're doing the prices right.
He's 90.
90.
Oh, so he
All right, I'm
won.
closer.
So
Okay.
Doug won.
Wow.
90.
Wow, he
Which
was,
I didn't
You know what?
believe.
No,
I
but
had to go-
Akins might have been a 50s era fighter. 50s, 60s, not 60s, 70s.
So, Dave, Coach, tell everyone. So you were at the Olympic Auditorium for a number of years. Where else were you?
Hollywood Legion Stadium.
What about the Avalon Theater? When
I
did you
was
go to the
there.
Avalon Theater?
I was at the Avalon Theater when I was 10 years old.
10 years old. See that?
Yeah, but also
who was there?
I was also at the Avalon Theater watching women's fighting, women's boxing at the Avalon.
Okay.
Which is about
90s.
15 years ago.
So
maybe 20.
we're doing the
Late
March 27th. We're
Yeah.
doing our first 360 show at the Avalon Theater in Hollywood.
It's going to be a
And
good turnout,
Hollywood
right?
and Fire.
Yeah.
It'll be a great
It'll
turnout.
be sold
Ryan
out.
Martin is fighting on it.
Sergey Boychuk, who I saw sparring
Bochuk
at Big
is,
Bear.
yeah,
Wow.
Very, very talented guy. And Brian Zavallo is making his pro debut on that show.
Yes.
So it'll be a great show. We're gonna continue to release ticket information, but that'll be a fun night in
But
the Hollywood.
It's
in
gonna be
That's a
great.
real look at the
Hollywood.
future.
It'll
No.
turn into a club. We'll do boxing, and then it's going to
Yeah.
turn into a club. It's gonna
Tuesday
be
night
cool.
clubbing. All right.
No, but it's a great
Tuesday night
place,
fights, yeah.
and the parking is really, really good.
Yeah,
You
right
park
next door,
right
yeah.
next door.
See,
You
Dave
see,
knows all the key factors.
It's also easy to get there. Every freeway lets out right there. It's real easy, and there's not a lot of traffic right around there.
And this will be one of those intimate atmospheres. It's only going to be about 650 people
Yeah.
there. And so the fighters can interact with the fans. The fans are going to be right there, right on top of the action.
And
so.
if you're into architecture, this building is so perfect. It's so beautiful.
When do you think it was built?
1926.
Yeah.
I know that.
Oh, wow.
1926. And Jerry Lewis did his radio shows from the Avalon.
And also the Beatles played there.
And the Beatles played there. That's
Yeah.
right.
So who was there when you?
I saw
when you
Ken
first went
Murray
there? Okay.
in Ken Murray's Blackouts. It was
The Blackouts.
The Blackouts. It was a show. So they built all these theaters in Hollywood at the same time. The Paramount, the Garment's Chinese, the Egyptian, and the Avalon was then called something, I don't know what it was, the Music Hall or something like that. And it's right across the street from Capitol Records Tower.
That's right, Capitol Records building. That's right.
That's
Yeah. That's the easiest way to find it. Is go to the Capitol Records building. It's right across the street. March 27th, Tuesday night.
Also, the subway stop is a block
That's
away.
right by the W Hotel.
Yeah,
it's right down
it's
the
right
street
there.
also.
So it's real easy to get to.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, you better get your tickets because it's definitely going to be sold out.
Yeah, and I know
Definitely.
this club show is going to get a lot of media coverage.
I don't think, did we do, since the Superfly show, did we do a Periscope since the Superfly a couple weeks ago?
Yeah,
We did, okay.
you came like the day after
Oh,
Superfly,
yeah,
which I
on
couldn't
that,
believe.
yeah.
I mean,
That's
you must
right,
have been delirious.
Yeah, but we're working on Superfly 3, so we'll see how we can put that together.
So anyway, Virgil Akins died 8 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how old was
I
he?
got to
Was
go
he
and look at his
90?
record.
He's 90.
90.
He would have been
He would
90.
be 90 right now?
Yeah,
Okay.
and he was
Awesome.
really good. Where's he from?
I'll be Georgia. Am I wrong?
St. Louis.
Oh, St. Louis, the Missouri dude. All right. Oh, I should know that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember going there to watch him. Oh, it was incredible.
Oh, you went to St. Louis to watch
No,
him?
no,
Or
I went at the Olympic Auditorium.
Olympic, right, okay.
He fought him both places.
Yeah.
It's for the title, too.
Yeah.
Jordan, that's-
I think his prime was the 50s. And then and Jordan was a young guy, and so Jordan was like 60s, early 60s or whatever.
Well, his last fight
Because
was
the
in
70s, it was
62.
all about Jose Naples and those guys that he fought, for the welterweight.
So no one
division.
ever heard of him.
What?
You heard of him, but
Aikens, of course. I mean, I know he's a great fighter. Yeah.
And they fought everybody.
But he's also a forgotten guy. Your average, like somebody in their 20s, 30s, or even 40s, who considers himself a hardcore boxing fan. If you bring up Virgil Aikens, and this is, by the way, this is one of the problems I have.
I didn't know him in my 20s. You know, I don't know. It was before my time.
No, but you know, like when fans like do their all-time list, like, you know, they'll say somebody from this era is like one of the greatest welterweights or junior welterweights or lightweights, and it's like, how many great lightweights do you know? Can you? When people say like, well, you know, whatever, you got to consider Floyd Mayweather to be like one of the best welterweights of all time. You know what I tell them? I say, name 10 welterweights who are in the Hall of Fame right now, and they can't do it, right? So I'm like, if you can't even name 10 Hall of Fame welterweights.
Obakar was a welterweight, one of the best fighters I ever worked with, and he couldn't win a world title because it was such a deep division.
Because you had Felix Trinidad, Ike Corte, and Oscar De La Hoya all undefeated and in their absolute primes, their physical peaks.
You're right. They all were at the same time, at the same.
Hey, here's who.
And by the way, if the welterweight version of Floyd Mayweather got in a time machine and went back to the mid to late 90s and fought that same trio, I don't know that he beats all three of those guys.
That's true.
But here's Virgil Aikens.
Maybe he goes 0-3.
In the 50s, 57.
Yeah.
This is who he fought in a row.
What years is this?
In 57.
Yes, he's 50.
Garnett Sugarheart, Gil Turner, Tony DeMarco, Isaac Logard,
I know all
Vince
these guys.
Martinez,
Like
Charlie Tombstone Smith,
Yeah.
Don Jordan, all these guys.
DeMarco was a champion.
Luis Rodriguez.
Yeah, great Cuban fighter.
Stan Harrington, Kenny Lane,
Stan
Denny
Harrington
Moyer,
was
Don Fulmer.
These guys are
all in a row.
These are all top 10 contenders. Yeah, but you know what a neo-boxing fan would do? We would look at how many losses.
You don't see that today.
And say he's not good. How many losses did he have?
He had 30. He was 60, 31, and 2.
See, 30 losses.
He got
today's standards. That's unacceptable.
Yeah,
That's the one thing.
He's garbage.
Floyd set a lot of records in boxing, but he's ingrained in everyone.
Screwed
that
up a lot of
had to be
minds.
undefeated. And
Yeah.
it just.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
But when you fight that many contenders and future champions and former champions back to back in a row, you're going to get losses.
Right.
And to me, it doesn't matter if he lost. Was he competitive with those guys? Were they good fights? The answer is yes. He's a great fighter.
He kept fighting. I mean, these fights were all close to each other.
But every one of those guys you mentioned, if they weren't a champion or didn't become a champion, they were legitimate top 10 contenders
top 10.
when there was only one title in every division.
And they fought
there were a lot
everyone.
less divisions.
Every one of those guys fought everyone else.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me give you this one. Benny Kid Perret.
Yeah. Cuban welterweight. You're asking me how old would he be?
Another great welterweight.
Yeah.
Well, Benny Kid Perret was younger than Aikens, so I'm going to say he would have been. Obviously, he died in the ring in that rubber match with Emil Griffith. I'm going to say mid 80s. I'm going to say 85.
85?
He was also 50. Yeah, 80, 85.
I'm going 84.
You win.
Who wins?
Tom wins.
Oh, okay, Tom wins. All right. I'm going to let you answer first next time.
This one every one. That's so good. 81.
81.
Okay, I'll give you
I was
this
only
one.
3 years off. See.
I'll give you this one.
I mean, you know what? He was a young guy then.
What do you win? You know what? I'll get you a ticket to the Avalon.
To the Avalon.
So, man, you don't have to
those
be-
are hard tickets to
You
get.
don't have to be shy about answering.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If there's questions.
You gotta
Someone
break
asked the question about what's happening with illegal hand wraps.
Illegal hand wraps. Oh, so that's a good question. That's a big topic that came up.
What do they call it? Stacking?
For the first fight. Yeah, well, different layers is considered stacking, and in many we confirm, like California doesn't allow it.
No.
UK doesn't allow it.
But Nevada does.
New York doesn't allow it. Well, it's a
Or do
big.
they?
In Nevada's defense, the rule isn't clear. The language isn't clear.
It's more vague, yeah.
It says you can put tape. The rule says you can put tape on the hand, limited, like one wrapping and then 2 strips, and then you can put. Then it says a certain number of gauze and a certain amount of tape. But what the argument is that they say it doesn't say how you apply it.
Yeah.
The rules, it goes in that order, gauze and tape. But then they're saying, well, you can apply as many layers as you want. You can apply 6 layers if you want.
Yeah.
So what Canelo did was, just to clarify all those viewers at home, he put 1 layer of gauze on, and then like 3 layers of tape on top of it, which in Abel's view and the other commissions that don't allow it is like, what's the difference between 1 layer of gauze and 3 layers of tape, or just tape directly on the skin? Why limit it on the skin when you can put as much tape as you want? right over just one layer of gauze. So that was a controversy because of the ambiguity, and that's what's practiced in Nevada. So it's not a legal argument anymore. But we're working with the commission. We just the whole thing is we don't want any controversy leading up to the fight night, fight week or fight night, and that's what happened in the locker room. Abel was saying, this isn't legal, and
the commissioners got mad at him, right? Like, get out of here.
Well, they said, you have to. If you keep complaining, which normally you file a protest, you're like, okay, well, let's get everyone in here and figure out what's going on. But apparently, that's an accepted practice in Nevada. If the only thing Nevada needs to do, and this is what I had mentioned to Bob Bennett and we appreciate the meeting with the commissioner, is they just have to make it more clear in their language, and they put the amount of gauze, the amount of tape, and then just say you can apply it however you feel according to your fighter's safety in the hands. Then that takes away the argument, but it's not a practice that's allowed in other jurisdictions. So
let me ask you this, and maybe this is better.
Maybe in Texas.
Yeah, maybe this is a better question.
Oh, JP's here. Look at that.
Wow.
Maybe this is a better question for Abel Sanchez, but the manner in which Team Canelo was wrapping his hands prior to the Golovkin fight, was it like the way Felix Trinidad Sr.'s father was wrapping his hands prior to that fight with Bernard Hopkins? And Team Hopkins had a problem with it because I think it was some kind of layering thing.
JP got the memo.
Can I just say this? We actually didn't call each other up saying we're going to wear this.
All natural.
These were all these were the Christmas presents, right? From
no
Mike Styles.
clenbuterol right here.
Yeah.
No clenbuterol. All natural sweatshirt.
Hey, thanks, Mike, for these.
At Shop Triple G if you wanna get those
Hey,
shirts.
Samir, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, JP? Good to see you too.
Good to see you.
So Samir's multi-talented. Not only is he translating at the LA Media event,
saw
now
him
he's
on the YouTube.
I have a feeling he's being too shy with the questions because
With that right now?
you haven't been reading it because I know there's people on there ripping Canelo left and right. He's like, you know what's going to happen? Everyone's going to accuse me like you told Samir not to say that. I don't do that, man. He's just polite. I would be reading everything.
I think
Just so
everyone's
y'all
just
know.
paying attention and listening. But another question was like, when are you going to bring the fight to Barclays?
That's a Barclays. That's a good question. I've been to Barclays a couple times for fights. They did a successful show with Wilder fighting Ortiz. That was a good fight. The Wilder fight, we didn't talk about that one. That was Wilder and Ortiz. It was
They had 14,000?
Yeah, they had a good
Second
crowd.
highest gathering there.
Yeah.
And that must have been a great atmosphere.
New York is hard. You really need to start to sell in New York, and that's why we started with Triple G at the theater at the Garden. Built him up with 2 shows there. Do you remember? Here's a good trivia question. Which 2 fights did he fight at the theater when we first started out with Triple G?
I was there for the first one. That was Gabriel Rosado.
That's right.
And
that
he was
the
the
second
co-feature
fight.
to Mikey Garcia.
That was the second fight.
Against
not
Orlando
by choice.
Salido.
Not by
I know.
choice.
No, you guys made concessions.
In order for us to get that date, because I insisted on going with the Garden, and,
and
our relationship with HBO, they're like, well, we have to combine the 2 shows and Top Rank, and then Top Rank wanted Mikey, although Triple G is like, half
Triple
the
G
crowd.
had more fans there than Mikey
It
Garcia.
just made
Let's
sense.
be real.
If that fight was in Texas or California, I could have seen it, but not New York, where Gennady already had
Well, he was the
fan
co-feature.
base. He actually had a higher rating as the co-feature. That's when HBO knew they had to start. The ratings went down. They were the highest at the co-feature, and then they went down for the main event. So
do you know what helped him?
That was very.
Do you know what
I
helped
think
him
it only
out?
happened.
He was sick going into that fight.
Right.
He didn't pull out.
Yep.
But
He had the
HBO was
flu.
following him around with
They
the
did a
cameras.
2-day
So
special,
his 2 days special on HBO was all about him having the flu on fight week and deciding to go through with the fight.
He literally.
And then the drama of chopping up
Rosado.
And more thudding punches, and we have a lot of respect for Gabe Rosado. That's
You
another.
have to.
Gotta give a lot of respect for Gabe Rosado because there was a lot of middleweights that wouldn't fight him, and he was the #1 contender at 154, and he was going to move up, and he moved up to fight the.
He had a
the
guaranteed
best guy.
title shot at 154 in the IBF.
That's right. They just didn't know when it was going to happen.
And if you remember, his corner was freaking out because I guess maybe his dad, Rosado's dad, wanted to keep him in the fight, and his trainer, Benny Briscoe from Philly, was like,
Your son's gonna
Angelo, your son's going to die. Angelo, you got to stop the fight. It was so dramatic.
That was very dramatic.
But that was captured in that 2-day special by HBO. And I think that it helped sort of launch Triple G.
He literally couldn't breathe on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Thursday, 2 days before the fight, he couldn't breathe. We were like 3 o'clock in the morning. The managers were in the room, and he's like, I don't know. It's like really
day by
we
day.
were debating whether to cancel the fight, and I was talking to Abel. Said, look, let's weigh in. If people didn't really pick up on it, but normally Gennady's like smiling and shaking hands and signing autographs. He was like in the corner with his hoodie on, and not doing anything. And so then that Friday night, it just started getting better. And then Saturday morning, he woke up and he's like, okay, he talked to Abel, and he's like, yeah, I think I can do this. And then that's what. That was one of the most dramatic. Blood was everywhere. He wore white shorts.
Oh, he was covered in blood.
They were red at the end of the fight.
So that was the first one in the theater. The second one, Coach was at.
Yeah, Curtis Stevens.
Curtis Stevens, right.
And here's the thing. Back then, you could go right up to the fight and buy tickets. After that, everything's a sellout.
Oh, for a Triple G fight, that's right.
Yeah, the Stevens fight, you could just buy tickets.
That's right. That sold out. Formed.
But then, the StubHub was the first one. The StubHub was
we
crazy.
were sold out literally 4 weeks, 1 month before the fight. That StubHub show was sold out. And we had to add bleachers and standing room seats.
So how things have changed so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, for that Stevens fight, you just go up and buy a ticket.
That's right.
And it wasn't even sold out, really.
There was a few seats. Out of the 5,000, I think we had maybe 80 seats that weren't.
I remember the
sold.
weigh-in was at that hotel in that little skinny room.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good memory because that was really logistically didn't work great, but that was the only room that was available at the Affinia Hotel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for security purposes,
been there.
it was a little bit rough.
Oh, you couldn't. Your flight got canceled.
Yeah, something.
Dumb question.
Oh yeah. Oh
Are there
no, I think that's when there was
preliminary
like a
dates for
shooting.
Superfly 3,
what it
and
was.
will you be
I
able
was
to add
supposed to be
Inouye
there.
to the Superfly?
In a way, he was asking about Superfly 3. Inouye's made a great splash on HBO. Just like Triple G, if you get the opportunity to fight on HBO, you got to make
a statement, right?
You got to make a statement. Otherwise, there's so many guys who want to get on premium cable, especially
Like
HBO.
who goofed up? Danny Jacobs. He got on HBO with that fight and bombed.
But he's right back on.
He
But
won every
HBO
round.
loves him.
I love him too.
He's a Brooklyn kid, man. He's a New York kid.
No, I love the guy.
And he's got a great personality.
No, he's the
And I
best.
love his trainer. Rozier's the man.
He's the
Fighting
best,
Selecki.
Rozier.
Selecki.
Yeah, now he's fighting Selecki, so
And who's his
He's right back on.
Who's his nutritionist?
Chris Algier.
yeah, Chris Algier.
Yeah.
He's the best.
That's why Triple G is one of the most popular fighters in Poland because his HBO debut was against Proxa, the European champion.
So that was televised in
That's
Poland,
after who pulled out of that fight he was supposed to fight. Remember?
It was supposed
He
to
was a
be
champion. It was
the
supposed to be a
WBO.
unit.
Yeah, the WBO guy, Russian, Pirog.
Speaking of Danny Jacobs, he's
He's got knocked out Jacobs. Yeah, Pirog.
Yeah, but Jacobs has a few excuses for that one.
Sure, of course.
A lot
he
of
might have been
excuses.
sick. He might have been.
No, and someone just died.
His grandmother.
Yeah,
Grandmother
passed
died,
away,
and
yeah.
then he was just coming down with cancer.
Yeah.
So a lot
They
of
were
things-
also
Danny
they
has
were
a
also
great-
very confident. They were overlooking it. I remember I covered that fight, like his whole team.
That was a vacant title fight. I remember that. Yeah.
Hey, wait, JP.
Oh yeah, how did
You
you
okay?
do?
You're
How
talking-
did you do
wait.
yesterday?
Gosh, boy, I don't want to get.
Wait.
Oh, yesterday wasn't good. Bartholomew let me down. He was terrible.
Bartholomew,
You
yeah.
bet
He was
Bartholomew,
terrible.
dude.
I did all right because of pro grades.
Cubans are having a bad year, man.
Oh, terrible.
It's-
Yeah, I guess so.
Started with Rigo in
That's
December.
true, actually.
Dude, it's
See,
been a
JP is
terrible
one of those
run.
guys, if
Oh,
he
and
has a
Sullivan
bad
Barrera
night,
as well.
Sullivan
if he has a bad
Barrera.
night, he'll say it. You see all these
Louis
other guys
Ortiz.
in
Oh, I gotta
Vegas,
own it.
and
I
they'll
gotta own it.
never
yeah.
say that.
No,
that
you
they
can't
had
win
a
every
losing
week.
ticket.
Actually, the big bet was Eric De Leon, and he got a draw that I
Got a
thought
draw,
could have gone
that's right.
6-4 either way.
You bet against Vince's?
Oh, yeah.
Haven't you been watching his interviews with Gabriel Montoya
I
from the
thought
Snack
Vince-
Gym?
I thought he was terrible.
He
you know,
just rocks.
it was. I was
That
telling
was a
Tom.
pretty even match.
Yeah, it was. I thought a draw was fair. I didn't think either
Yeah.
guy really put it on the line. It wasn't a very good fight.
Vince's was technically more professional, but De Leon had that fire.
I agree.
Manuel
He
Stewart
kept
was
trying to
very
get to
big
him.
on Eric De Leon.
Yeah.
He was from the Detroit area, and Emmanuel was very high on Eric De Leon. when
He
he
was
was
big on
17
Salcedo
years old.
too.
Yeah.
Abel's guy, right?
I think De Leon pulled out the draw in the last few rounds,
Yeah.
but I didn't think either guy really deserved it. I was happy to get my money back on the draw.
Oh, right, that's true.
But Bartholomew managed to do worse than Ndongo the night before to take the worst performance of the weekend. He was terrible.
What did you think about the main event? The stuff of last night?
Valdez is a fighter from every bone in his body. He's a fighter. I mean, that was unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
What was the
Valdez.
price in that?
So Oscar Valdez went down in price.
He went down. Yeah, I was surprised.
From
He
4
was
to
a
1 to about
favorite,
3.5. He's an unbelievable fighter. I mean, he was fighting a guy 143 pounds. He could have had any
Physically, he looked a
excuse
lot
to-
bigger in the ring.
Yeah.
Quigg looked a lot bigger.
Quick's a big guy.
Quigg was landing big shots on him.
Yeah, he was.
But
Quick's good.
Broke his jaw.
Valdez needs an easy fight.
Yeah.
This is too much now.
I was telling, or maybe I was telling Coach. I said, his career might not last long. He's 25 now, right?
I think so, yeah.
He's one of those guys where he challenges himself so much, and his style sort of plays out this way in the ring, where his career is so punishing that he could be done by his late 20s.
Yeah, I
Like
agree with you.
his shelf life, his prime, may not be an extended one.
Well, ESPN kept saying, "Oh, he bit his tongue. He bit his tongue." I said, "That doesn't look like a bitten
That
tongue."
was-
That was
They weren't
worse.
taking out the mouthpiece because he
Then
broke
he
his
said
jaw.
it was his teeth.
The Savagna fight was tough. That was punishing. And the
And
Mariaga
the
fight
Mariaga
was
fight.
grueling.
But Valdez is unbelievable. The
Oh, he's
guts and the
sensational.
toughness.
Hey, how old was Ray Mancini when he retired?
25?
26.
Fighter at
26.
26, well,
And how about Robert Garcia?
He was 25, 26.
he was young also. That was one of your
Yeah.
trivia questions. That's the one I got.
Yeah. Did you get
I
that
was a
one?
few years off. I know. I was
Okay, I
was
got
off
one
on
more
that.
birthday.
Okay, another birthday.
Donnie Lalonde.
Donnie Lalonde from Canada.
Golden
He
boy.
fought Ray Leonard. I remember that.
1988.
He
Fought Ray Leonard
dropped
30
Ray Leonard,
years ago.
right?
Yes,
that was
he
his
did.
claim to fame. He dropped Ray Leonard.
Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
And then got knocked out by that little dude. Little old man got up and knocked
Donnie's
him out.
claim to fame, yeah.
That was in 1988, so that's 30 years ago. I'd say he's 57.
I'm going to go 56.
52.
Samir, what do you think?
52.
58.
God,
58.
that was
Oh,
good. Yeah, you went-
I
and
went the
still-
wrong way.
You
And
zigged
still-
instead of zagged.
I went the wrong way.
That was good.
Someone asked the question, when will Triple G fight in Kazakhstan?
Kazakhstan. You know, we came very close
Very good question.
last year. We came very close when they had the expo in Kazakhstan, and they were going to put a big offer together and have Triple G come out there. But the timing after the Danny Jacobs fight and then before the Canelo fight in September, it would have been way too much, too compact a schedule. So that was a fight that might have, under those circumstances, it could have happened with Billy Joe Saunders. They
Yeah,
actually
that was
agreed
the Saunders fight.
to go out there to make that fight. That would have been a great event in Kazakhstan. So hopefully, just depending on how everything goes, Cinco de Mayo in Las Vegas. Hopefully everything else with testing and everything, they're going to do a thorough investigation and hopefully everything, because we want the fight to happen. So hopefully it moves forward. At the same time, there's a lot of concern. You got to make sure, you got to do your due diligence and make sure that there was nothing untoward or against the rules going on. So positive test is a serious test. But if everything goes the right way, it's Cinco de Mayo in Las Vegas, and then after that we'll see. But Kazakhstan would be great to bring him back. There's a 40,000 seat soccer stadium there that's very interested in hosting him.
It will be filled, definitely.
Speaking of the commission in Vegas,
And they have a covered stadium there, unlike the StubHub.
Oh, yeah.
It has a
That's
roof on it.
smart.
yeah, but they did a good job last night, StubHub.
They actually did, yeah.
I mean, it was.
We did. What was the fight? Do you remember? The outdoor stadium in Germany. It was a Klitschko fight when it was.
Oh, was that Shagayev?
No, it was
No?
David Hay.
David Hay!
In Hamburg. It was the worst. It was July. It was on our birthday. I shared the birthday with Emmanuel Stewart and Vladimir's physiotherapist, July 7th, and it was on that day. It was the worst raining day of the whole year in Hamburg. It was a torrential downpour, but luckily we had HBO thought it was going to cancel like three different times because it was so bad. The weather and the wind. The rain isn't bad when it comes down, but when it starts raining sideways, then that's bad. So luckily that fight went
That fight did incredible ratings, though.
did great ratings. Yeah, Hayes,
Worldwide.
And also Cinco de Mayo is a Hay Bellew rematch in the
day?
UK. Same day, yeah.
That'll be interesting. That
You
first
betting
fight-
that?
That's a tough fight to bet.
All right,
Yeah,
wait.
how do you bet on it?
Yeah.
Is he betting on that?
The thing is,
That's a weird fight.
you just
I mean,
have to
how-
balance it out. You bet every week, but you got to balance
Yeah.
it out. Like you said, you take the losses and you
Yeah.
kind of go and reassess and you
So
figure
who's
out.
your bet for this week?
Oh, this
Yeah,
week.
the upcoming bet. Who are you featuring, JP?
There's no odds on it yet, but I think I like JC Ramirez over Imam. I don't know what the
Oh,
odds
that's
will
right.
be.
Your mom is fighting.
But the
That's
fight's
right.
in New York, which is
It's
interesting.
kind of a pick 'em, though. don't
Actually,
you
can
think?
I change it?
Yeah.
I like the nail to knock out his
Oh,
opponent.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
Coach's
Dave's man,
favorite
the nail.
fighter.
Hey, you
Yeah.
weren't here for the Academy Award picks, though.
It worked out though, but the guy, I know I let you down on that. I want to say something about clenbuterol though. It's like, if he ate something, maybe we don't know, but if he didn't, I just want to tell Canelo that Eric Morales got knocked out, Francisco Vargas got knocked out. So be careful,
Oh, it's a
Canelo.
trend, JP.
Be
Oh,
careful,
JP is
Canelo.
going with the trend.
Be careful, Canelo. The guys who take clenbuterol and got busted, they all got knocked out.
So do you know that?
We'll see.
Do you know what Canelo's trainers' family's business is?
No,
They're butchers.
they're butchers.
They're in the meat
They're in the
business.
meat business.
Jesus.
Question: if Triple G wins, who will be his next opponent?
That's a good question. But right now we're focused on May 5. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully everything works out the right way and you know, Cinco de Mayo. Then if he wins, then I think the door is open. You know?
Maybe BJ.
So let me ask you this:
We thought he won the first fight, so that's why.
Triple G knocks him out this time.
Yeah.
Could there be a third fight?
I think with the draw, the only purpose that happened with the draw, because we agreed with HBO, we thought he won 8-4. We didn't think it was that hard to score, but depending on who wins the second fight, I think the draw in the first fight that sets up potentially a third fight. Unless, you know, if there's a knockout, if there's a bad knockout, then you never know. But with these two guys, you know, it's a very competitive fight. You know, and a lot of people are going with Canelo, where, you know, he's the younger guy now. He went 12 rounds with Triple G, so I actually think the rematch will be a lot more exciting than the first fight. First fight was a great fight, but I think the rematch with Canelo,
so too.
Canelo got a lot of heat from his fans with the way he fought. So I think he's gonna be a lot more aggressive the second fight, and Gennadi's gonna be aggressive. So I think
It was so
that'll be a
interesting
great
when
fight.
you took Gennady to that, was it an NFL game or the soccer stadium next
at
week? And
Azteca Stadium.
you
That
said
was the
Mexico.
Patriots versus the Raiders.
And Mexico just loved Triple G.
Yeah,
and
he was wearing a Mexican national jersey. He was on the field. That was after, because he made a donation for the earthquake.
That's
they call
right.
it some earthquake relief fund in Mexico City, and brought on the field. They were chanting his name, chanting Triple G, and that was pretty. That was one of the moments that stands out for me working with Triple G. Is him on the center field of Azteca Stadium, and the fans
and the
chanting
support.
his name.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This fight's going to be much bigger.
I think so, too.
The pay-per-view is going to off the charts.
It should do well.
And now with this thing,
I think it breaks 2 million.
Good.
no,
it could,
it's
yeah.
with all everything,
Easy.
and with this newest situation, a lot
It was
of
in the headlines, right? It was dominating the headlines last week, Coach.
A lot of publicity.
Big drama show.
They'll probably
So
have a
with-
line on that. Will it do 2 million or more? That'll probably be the line.
You think
So
so?
it's going
I
to be
think it
They
cracks
have
to
odds
me.
on
It's gonna
pay-per-view
be
numbers.
huge.
They
I
did.
didn't
They've
know that.
had them recently
Yeah?
on pay-per-views. Yeah. They had it on Floyd's.
So let
fight.
me ask you this: where, who,
Yeah. See.
where's Bennett get his check from? Is that from the state?
I don't
No, seriously. Who?
Well,
Is he
the
a
from the
state
state, yeah.
athletic
employee?
commission is from the state.
Yeah, that's state
State
funded.
Athletic Commission.
So is he actually? Is he like in their legal team or something, and he gets paid that way, or is he the commission? Is
No,
that
he's
the,
the executive director of
Yeah.
the Nevada Athletic Commission.
Yeah, so
And
the
how much you
commission, their
think-
money comes from taxpayers' money.
How much do you think he
Taxpayer
makes?
money, yeah.
How much do you think he makes a year?
pencil body.
Oh, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. Mark Radner, you know, is a very well-known commissioner,
Yeah.
and he
was the best.
of
my generation, he was
He
the best.
left to go when UFC made him an offer. He
Yeah.
went to
They were
work for
smart.
the UFC. Yeah.
When will the undercard be set for Triple G Canelo?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Yeah, I'm in regular contact with Golden Boy and Eric Gomez, so we'll see if we can, see how that plays out. I know a lot of people want to see Chocolatito back in the ring. If there's a way to work that out, he'd be great. I know Jojo Diaz is one of the guys that they were talking about on the Golden Boy side.
I think they would try to do that mandatory WBC featherweight bout with Gary Russell Jr.
Yeah,
big fight.
that's what they were talking about.
That's a great fight.
Gary Russell
That's a really
and,
good
So
fight.
could
a really
Ryan
good fight,
Martin be on that card also?
He's going to fight March 27th at the Avalon, and then we'll have to see. Bring him back like in May or June. Yeah, definitely. But he's poised for a world title fight.
So can I ask
year.
you this?
Yeah.
Is it easy to get to the Avalon?
Oh, it's very easy, Dave. Right by the subway, right by the metro, and the freeways, right?
Yeah, and what about the
Hollywood
parking?
and Vine.
How's the parking?
Parking right across the street, right next door. There's the easy parking there, which is key for a lot of venues, right? A lot of restaurants go out of business with no parking.
Right, and what about in the Avalon? Is it going to be like, what kind of food are you going to...
Oh yeah, that's another thing. There's going to be food and drinks. That's a good question. Good thing, Coach, you asked it. They're going to open at 5 o'clock, so everyone in Hollywood that wants to come straight after work, it's going to be happy hour from 5 to 6. Tecate is a sponsor.
Yeah.
Chivas is involved with it, so it's going to be
That's
a fun
what I'm
night.
doing. Coach and I are going straight after work. Doors at 5.
Yeah.
Smart,
March
smart,
27th,
JP.
Tuesday,
Yeah.
right after work.
Yeah.
Don't tell my wife. She's walking around.
You have to edit that part. You have to edit that part out. But it'll be fun. And the first fight will start around 6:30, and then it'll turn, like I said, it'll turn afterwards. It'll turn into a club, and we'll have the DJ there, and it'll be a fun night. Yeah, the
Ryan
Tecate
Martin.
girl's going to be there. That's probably the closest you're going to get to a Tecate girl, is they're going to be walking around, and it'll be a fun night.
I'm looking forward to seeing Ryan Martin fight. when he did the Periscope. He's a great guy, well-spoken kid, good fighter.
Smart.
Good
Great
personality,
shape.
Very good
good looking,
personality.
and very good shape.
Yeah.
Up
Looking
there
forward to it.
in Big Bear, yeah.
And coming off
Very
a tough
tall,
fight, he fought a
lightweight.
tough guy last time. That was a tough
I don't know
fight.
how he makes
Rojo
135.
from Mexico, yeah.
fight.
And
That
that
was-
kid's making his pro debut.
Yeah, Brian Saballo, yeah. A lot of people are interested to see how he's going to do in the pros. So, he's
And then
a very
how many
marketable guy.
female fights you gonna have?
We should have one female fight on that show. Yeah, just like we had at the Superfly show.
So I saw something. There's a girl that fought at StubHub last night.
Yeah,
Is that
Mikhail.
StubHub?
They're really, so they got a lot
Maya,
going on.
right?
Michaela
Yeah.
Mayer
Yeah,
is
Michaela.
with Top Rank.
Yeah.
Golden Boy's got a girl fighting this Friday.
Sinisa Estrada.
Yeah, so they
Super
got a lot
bad.
of good female fighters coming up. You know,
The
Katie
only
Taylor's
trouble
got
with
a
the
fight
female
soon.
fighters, there's not enough depth.
Yeah.
as far
You
as
know,
the competition.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, the couple at the top there, but,
There's one girl I should mention. I sent you the text. She, I think, is in Katie Taylor's division, and I think she's Irish. Someone from the UK can maybe write in and tell me if I'm wrong, but you got to watch Chantel Cameron. Watch this girl. She's like 5-0 now. She's unbelievable.
So about the UK questions, are there any UK fighters that you rate?
Did I rate?
Yeah.
Rate? Well, Anthony Joshua. You got to rate him. I mean, he's
Up and coming UK
up and
fighter.
coming UK fighters.
Josh Kelly.
Josh Taylor.
Josh Kelly.
Josh
Taylor.
Kelly.
Josh's. Both
Yeah,
Josh's.
Josh
And then
is
the heavyweight from the Olympics was Joe Joyce. He's supposed to be solid guy.
not Dubois.
So how many
good, yeah.
title holders they have now in the UK?
Last I heard was 17. I'm not sure
Wow.
now,
It's a high
but
number.
it was like at the peak of title holders.
Okay.
Yeah. But getting back to the female fighters, the best female fighter in the world and the only undisputed champion in the sport of boxing, male or female,
Cecilia Brækhus.
Cecilia Brækhus. She might make her U.S. debut around that Cinco de Mayo time frame.
Oh, that's big
Yeah,
news.
that'd be
That's going to
good,
be a
yeah.
lot of interest seeing Cecilia fighting live over
I
here.
will
in
be
the
there
US.
to see her live.
She's something else.
Yeah, she
Awesome.
is probably the best looking fighter in the world, and
Best
she
looking.
can really fight.
Incredible.
Great sense
Yeah,
of
she
style,
can
great
really fight.
personality.
Yeah. And she sells out arenas
Yeah.
in Norway. She gets over 10,000 people.
Yeah.
And she's the
She's
headliner.
pay-per-view over there.
She's got a great story because boxing was outlawed for 35 years in Norway. And
Yeah.
because of her and her success, they allowed it. It's very strict. There, the drug testing, they have to start. You can't fight unless you've been in a drug testing protocol for 60 days before, regardless on the undercard, on the main event, and so you can't do a last-minute replacement over there. So they're very strict on the drug testing over there.
I loved her fight with, was it Wallström? The girl, the Swedish girl? I think it was,
Yeah, a lot of Swedish rivalries. Yeah.
Yeah, that fight was great, and you can tell Cecilia she's got a mean streak too.
Yeah.
She's tough. She's the best.
Trained by Jonathan Banks, same trainer Vladimir Klitschko had, and he's really changed her. She had a little bit of just real boxing style,
Right.
scoring points, and he's changed her into. She's gotten some impressive knockouts now. Yeah.
What's interesting is the female
I think you were talking about
round
Michaela
props.
and Lauren. Was
Yes.
the Swedish fighter.
That's yes. With the female round props, usually those fights go the distance. You could have made some money on Cecilia with those last couple knockouts
right,
because
yeah.
everyone thinks her fights are going the
That's right,
distance.
Yeah, she had so many.
And
points
there were
like
big
that.
prices that she was knocking people out. So she's great. She's great. I hope she fights.
So you wager on female basketball also?
No,
don't you?
this is
yes,
not
you
true.
do.
No, this is
No,
not
I
true.
know you do. Don't lie. See,
true.
all gamblers are liars.
No, years ago maybe. Years ago. No, not anymore.
Well, we didn't say
Female.
when. We
You
didn't
know,
put
I
a
wasn't
date
here
on it.
last week, but I got to say something about Adelaide Berg. She was terrible at the UFC event last week.
another
That was her
UFC
first
event.
big gig since. And she almost cost me a lot of money on Mackenzie
That was
Dern.
a female fight, right?
It was
The
a
Laura
female
Dern,
fight,
right?
and she gave the girl the fight. It was a split decision. Thank God the other two judges had it right. But she's terrible at it. She's terrible consistently in every sport.
That's a consistent thing.
She's just
Is she
bad.
Robert Bird's wife?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's just.
I love Robert Bird.
Oh, he's great, but
They gotta stop.
you know what?
Stop
He's
the madness
he's
with her.
screwing up now too. I mean, I think there's a shelf life with officials.
Yeah.
I don't want to be ageist or anything.
No, it's probably true. Coach, what did you think of the officiating last night? Everything good at StubHub? And
That was a great fight.
did you guys
I
talk
loved
about
it.
Mikey yet? What did you think of Mikey?
I haven't. I sort of
I
watched
watched
it
the
in
Mikey
between.
fight. He
but
had a lot
I-
harder time than I thought he would. I'll say this. I think McGirt had Lipinets fighting the right game plan. Lipinets was getting his jab off.
Yep.
He was landing the counter hook. But I like what Lipinets did was he went to the body, especially whenever he backed Mikey up. You know, Mikey usually is coming forward or he stands his ground, and he likes guys to come with him. But
Lipinets was able to get his jab in there, and that kind of and Mikey would give ground, and whenever Mikey would start to go to the ropes, Lipinets was working that body with both hands. But Mikey would come back with these 1-2 combinations and just lead right hands that were landing right on the mark. Scored that knockdown in round 7. So Mikey landed, even though he wasn't as aggressive as usual, he was still a sharpshooter in there, still moved his hands more.
Yeah.
But to me, I mean, I didn't rate Lipinets very highly going into that fight. He has, 13 pro fights.
Good
Did he?
accounting,
Yeah, he's a Kazakhstan guy, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, born in Kazakhstan at least. Not one of those guys with the extensive amateur background. You know, he was like a Muay Thai fighter or something.
Exactly.
Like that. He was a kickboxer.
Exactly.
So I didn't really have a lot of respect for his experience going in. And Garcia, he's got 37 fights. I thought Garcia would totally outclass him. Garcia had to earn that win.
He did.
I mean, I had it 8 rounds to 4.
There was an interesting note on Twitter this morning that someone said they thought that version of Lipinets would give the version that we saw of Pro Grace Friday night hell. Because Pro Grace, you couldn't tell a lot from how bad Ndongo was.
Yeah.
So Regis probably still has a long way to go. He had a lot of talent.
I love watching Regis fight, though.
Yeah,
like, just the way his form, the way he's kind of stalking him, he's like an old-time fighter.
Yeah.
I mean, like 30s and 40s style. Yeah.
He's a good fighter.
Yeah, I
What
like
was the price on the Indigo fight?
Well, that was probably the bet of the whole weekend, is that Regis was a 5-1 favorite, but you could get the go at 9.5 rounds. And, once you saw Ndongo dancing, Dean texted me, or Dean left me a voicemail, and he said that guy, after one punch, looked like Bambi, the deer, on one leg. He just had no mental fortitude and nothing. So, but Regis is really good.
So do you have any bets in basketball?
No
golf,
basketball.
hockey?
Yeah. I was going to ask you about
tournament
this.
is coming up.
The tournament's coming up.
Tournament's coming up.
I was going to ask you this because this is a big thing in Vegas right now, and I know you're a golf guy. Tiger's in the running today, right?
Yeah.
Isn't he number 2?
He's number 2 right now, and they're taking a huge amount of bets in Vegas this week that he won't win because he hasn't won in so long. So can he win? I don't know.
Absolutely. He's only 1 stroke behind. He looks great.
Wow.
But he looks so good in clothes. I mean, this guy looks like he's in the cover of GQ.
Physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
No,
when
he's doing
back,
good. He's relaxed.
It's great for the sport, right? When he's
Oh my
the
God.
ratings.
Yeah. The
That was
ratings.
a big drop off. That was one of the biggest drop offs. Someone that just dominated his sport, and then just all of a sudden, in a couple of months, just
I'll tell you a bigger
couldn't
one.
win a tournament.
Who's a bigger one?
Ronda Rousey.
Is also about on that same level.
But she's never coming back.
You can see her on Monday
She's in
nights
UFC.
now.
She's not, I'm sorry, WWE. Yeah.
And JP and I went to see her before anyone knew who she was.
She was
Oh, I
training.
got announcements.
back in the strike
We're going to talk about
force
upcoming events. So Triple G is supposed to throw out the first pitch
Okay.
at Dodger Stadium.
Oh,
Nice.
The team that went to the World Series last year, April 1st on the Sunday, opening weekend against the San Francisco Giants. So if you want to see Triple G live at the stadium, April 1st,
And see the Dodgers.
see the Dodgers against the San Francisco Giants. Big rivalry there. Andre the Giant premiere
that's
is
gonna
going to
be-
be on that Thursday. Triple G is supposed to be there. He got invited. That's also an HBO
New York?
film. No, out here. So we might see Triple H and Triple G on the red carpet together.
In the same
The
venue.
Rock made the announcement, with the Canelo and the
great.
Triple
That
G
was
fight.
awesome.
So that was a great announcement.
That was a smart.
That was a smart move.
Yeah, so
Who
we got
called?
some exciting. Oh, HBO 24/7 is going on now on Monday and Tuesday to the training camp.
So they are
So
When
going
does
to.
it, when does it start?
They're filming Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
You mean the fight's still on?
Everyone's
So
training.
far, so good.
Yeah, everyone is training.
Hey, it's going to be bigger than ever. It's almost, if you planned this, it couldn't have been better.
You're right.
It's
People
incredible.
were talking about it all week.
Yeah.
It
Every
made a lot
place.
made a lot of headlines. Yeah,
But aside from sports news, I mean, it was huge.
TMZ had it on it. Yeah.
Yeah. How many episodes? I'm assuming 24/7.
There'll be actually 3 total, not 24/7. It'll be one 24/7, then there'll be one under the lights where they have experts talking about what they think's going to happen in the rematch, and then another face-off. We're going to do a face-off between Triple G and Canelo. That was actually already filmed with Max Kellerman, so it'll be some great promotion leading up.
Wait, so there's going to be
leading up
2
to-
face-offs, or they're just
No.
refilming it?
a new face-off for this.
Right,
this-
but that's
yeah.
already
We did that one
in
already,
the
yeah.
books.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
It's already in the
I'm
bag.
not a big fan of that one with Kellerman. I mean, I like Kellerman
That's
a lot.
face-off.
But that face-off thing,
Sometimes it gets intense. That goes back to the David Hay and Vladimir. That was one of the most intense
That
face-offs.
was
They
nice.
really didn't like each other. And you could tell that was coming out.
Hopkins and Jean Pascal for the
That one
rematch.
also,
That
yeah.
was a good
Did
one.
you see when they had Robert Garcia and Buddy McGirt?
They said it was
yesterday? They had sort of a face-off.
Yeah, oh
kind
yeah,
of
that
thing.
was good. Yeah, Showtime
Very
did a
good.
nice.
It was
a nice
really
piece.
good.
Their own version of it.
I remember Buddy McGirt. He fought together with Kevin Kelly at the theater at Madison Square Garden. We had the weigh-in, and he came in with his big fur coat,
Yeah.
and it was in the wintertime. And
Yeah.
Buddy was.
Hey, he was good.
Another great welterweight, right?
He was
Terrific
incredible.
welterweight.
What's his
With-
claim to fame as a trainer?
As a trainer, wasn't it Gotti? Or no, who was the?
Tarver?
Light heavyweight.
Yeah. we
Oh,
talked-
Tarver
Antonio,
beating
yeah.
Roy Jones.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's
right.
And we talked about it before, and Steve Kidd was at that camp.
Yeah.
And that punch, I mean, they practiced that. They had that down. I mean, that
You got
was
any excuses tonight, Roy?
Yeah.
That was
yeah,
the famous
that was
line.
incredible.
Yeah.
That
All
was
right,
good.
yeah.
One of the
Buddy
famous
has his
lines.
training camp still out in Florida, I think, out there.
Oh, he's out here.
He's out here now?
Yeah, he lives
he's
here.
out here. He's been out here for
he
a
used to be
while.
in Florida.
Yeah, he used to be in Florida.
He
That's
had a
true.
gym right over
I
there.
thought Tarver was actually really
think he's
good
like
on
in the,
commentary when he
Oh,
used to
Tarver
commentate.
was great.
They let him go because he got
He also
Yeah.
positive on.
he got a positive test, but I thought he was a great commentator.
Who
Tarver.
saved his butt, though?
Who
Heyman.
saved Tarver?
Heyman.
Oh, Heyman.
Heyman. No,
I
Heyman
thought
did.
maybe in the ring. Yeah.
No, he gave him like $200,000 or something to get him out of
Getting
jail.
out of debt.
He
Oh,
had a
right,
big
he had a
debt
big-
going. No, but he was a gambler.
Gambling
Yeah.
debt, yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Charles Barkley. Don't gamble. It's not good.
I love
Charles Barkley is a big Triple G supporter. We saw him in
Oh, is he
Vegas a
really?
couple times, at the fights, and he really likes Triple G. Yeah. He's
That's
a good guy.
That doesn't surprise
He's
me.
a great commentator.
Yes,
He does.
absolutely.
So how do people get tickets for the Avalon?
For the Avalon, we already have everything is digitally, the announcement, and we're gonna have an interactive seating chart this week that will come out. So we'll publicize that.
No,
But,
it's going to be sold out right away.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks
Get
from
your
this
tickets
Tuesday.
quick. Yeah, get your tickets. There's general admission up, but they have a great balcony upstairs.
Yeah.
Dave was at the site survey that we did.
Oh, okay.
So he's our inside advisor as far as
Well,
the
but
show
I'm
is
sort of a
concerned.
consultant on blue collar club shows. So this isn't quite blue collar. But
What-
This will be
Showtime.
Yeah, this is
Hollywood.
a-
This
is
will be
a-
cool, and
yeah.
we'll have some special guests. Yeah, it'll be cool.
no, it's going to be.
It'll be nice.
Who's going to be the ring announcer?
Oh, that's a good question.
Ring announcer that we can announce Joe Martinez.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
Joe
good.
Martinez
He's
is
a good guy.
awesome.
He's very professional.
He
he's
did our
really
fights.
good.
He did the Superfly fights.
Yeah,
Michael
he
Buffer
did.
did the HBO fights, and Joe does a
and
really
he's
good
not
job.
over the top,
No,
but he's
yeah.
really good.
Total pro. Yeah, he's very, very good. He's been doing UFC too.
No, he's
He does
great.
everything.
No, he's good.
Gigs,
He
yeah.
looks good. And you know that other guy that ESPN has, besides Buffer, that other guy.
Thomas Triver.
No, he's okay too.
I like
but
Thomas
that,
Triver.
the Latino guy.
Oh, Ray Flores.
No, the other. You know he.
Osuna on commentary?
No, who does
He's talking
the-
about the
yeah,
announcing the fight.
public address.
Oh, I don't know. I know Diamante's been getting a lot of more.
Diamante's
in
good.
UK, yeah.
Terrific.
Diamante
He
is
does
really
that
good.
World Boxing.
He's been doing a good
Super
job
Series,
on
yeah.
it. Really good job on it.
And he's the voice of, I guess, with the Brooklyn Boxing. He does all
Yeah.
the Park-based shows.
Yeah.
So the rumor is that Loma is going to fight Linares. So you'll have Triple G Canelo,
Yeah.
Usyk Gassiev, and Linares
That's all the
Loma,
month of May,
And hey,
right?
Bellew.
and Hay Bellew in the same week. Oh my God! Wow.
And-
What a time! What a time!
The Avalon fights.
Yeah.
Wait, what
Will
date
the
is
second one be?
what date
around?
is the Linares?
They're saying the
Loma?
12th, so that would
Oh,
be the week
okay,
later.
12. Okay,
is what
1
they're
week later.
saying.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the controversy. That was the
No, but
holdup.
that they
yeah.
put that together is really good. I like
they
it.
said
That would
on-
be on, they're talking about on ESPN.
It'd be
Yeah,
ESPN.
but they're going to have an earlier start date, so
They're
it
trying to
doesn't.
stagger the start
Which
time.
I like. I mean, I hate having to choose between watching
Right.
I agree.
Garcia Lipinets
At the
and
exact
Valdez
same-
Quig.
Early,
The exact
early
same
start
time.
times for those ESPN shows.
Yeah.
That's great. You know, in the,
So
summer,
who do you
in the
li-
afternoon, and then you go into the. Into
Who do you
the
like
night
in
fights.
that fight with Linares? And,
I like Lomachenko.
Yeah.
I like Lomachenko.
Big
But I
time,
think
big
I
time.
like the decision. I don't think he hammers Linares. I think it's a good fight.
Loma's
Question.
going to knock him
I
out in the
don't
first
know.
round.
Tyson Fury, potential comeback. What do you think?
Tyson Fury?
Yeah.
He's in
Tyson
shape.
Fury is a great self-promoter.
He's in
I mean,
shape.
that guy came in a Batman outfit
yeah,
for
he's
the
crazy.
press conference with Vladimir. I think Tyson has a lot of potential. I mean, look, he's the only guy that dethroned Vladimir Klitschko after that historic run. You know,
Yeah.
so you know if Tyson's similar to Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah.
If they're right, if they're
Yeah.
trained properly and mentally
They're a
focused,
pain in the ass.
Billy's a great
yeah.
fighter when he's on 100%.
Yeah.
Look what he did with
Lemieux. No, and that's
and the same with Tyson Fury. I think
that's BJ and Tyson at their best. Yeah.
Tyson, he's very fast hands, very tall. He's got
He
a
moves.
great jab,
He
good
can move.
movement.
That's the thing. He's a giant and he's mobile.
Right.
And he's not. And he knows what he is too. Both Saunders and Fury understand what they are. They're not punchers. They don't overcommit to their power. They've got decent power because they got good timing and they're accurate.
Keep you honest, yeah.
But that's the thing about Fury. He's so big, he can bust you up gradually over a fight throwing arm punches.
Right.
Like he'll just mess around, and he's one of those guys. He'll clown his way to a victory.
That footwork.
Yeah, it's the footwork.
Yeah.
For a big man, he's mobile. He looks awkward,
So
but
to-
he's very
to
good.
bring
And so's Hughie.
to the
Well, we'll see
heavyweight
coming
division.
back.
Yeah, so Tyson.
Oh
Fury
yeah, no, it's a
comes
lot.
back.
I mean, he
Coming
may never be
back's
the
a big
same. You
deal.
never know, but he's a real presence in the heavyweight division.
That was another thing with UCAT and the drug testing. That's why he was out for like 2 years, and there was always a gray area.
But they mishandled that.
But
ridiculous.
it'll be good if everything, it'll be good.
But
to see
wasn't
back
it the
in
same
ring.
thing with him? Like it was some sort of nandrolone thing, and he said he ate some kind of
Come on.
meat. Yeah.
Most guys stay out.
And it was like something weird, something
It
real
was-
exotic, like he
nobody-
ate like a horse dick or something weird. It was like
But he said he
something bizarre. Like what? He's like, hey, it's,
He's a bizarre cat.
but they, but they didn't.
Now you're gonna see the headlines.
It was
on
so
Twitter.
weird.
Tyson Fury.
No, it was something weird like that. I'm serious. I'm not trying to be flippant or funny.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to put down Tyson.
It was
I'm just-
definitely
But it was-
for whatever was going on during that 2-year period that he didn't fight. It was
Yeah.
a lot of questions.
Most guys after 2 years, it's too hard to come back from that.
But
But
you-
one guy, the best comeback, I already said a few weeks ago, Vitaly versus Peter. The
Peter,
greatest
that was,
comeback,
That was almost 4 years.
the greatest
Yeah.
comeback
Right.
ever in heavyweight. It's
Came right
amazing.
back, no tune-up fights.
Incredible.
Straight back to get his title back.
Even money,
Sugar Ray
pick 'em-
Leonard-esque.
even money fight. He
Okay, let me
dominated.
ask you this, and then we got to end it, okay? Yeah. On March 9th, the guy made his comeback.
March
He had a
9th.
great career, was off, came back, went to the moon.
March 9th now? March 9th?
March 9th, 1987.
Oh, 87.
Oh, 1987.
Say
Coming
March
back,
9th,
it's got to be
it's like-
Sugar Ray Leonard, right? No? Who would have
Even
come back in
87.
No,
1987?
and he came back and went to the moon with it. I mean, he came back
had been-
to make
he had been
$100,000. He might not making millions.
Oh, he started. George Foreman
Yeah.
started his comeback.
Right.
Guest editor of the
Oh,
current
George Foreman, yeah.
the
that
current
was
Ring
a-
magazine,
that was
May
a great-
2018
Yeah.
issue. Everybody, guest
Great.
editor George Foreman. It's got all the heavyweights we've been
that's a
talking
great
about on the
edition.
cover.
That
Yeah.
one is almost as good as the one with Triple G on the cover.
almost.
But that one's a good cover with all the heavyweights. And
It's
like I
good.
said,
Let me tell you why this one's great. It's $2 cheaper than Ring Magazine has been in over a decade.
That's
It's
a-
not $8.95; it's
that's a
$6.95.
big move.
And when it's on the shelves, on sale date is
I got mine.
yeah. If
Yeah,
you're
I
a
got mine.
subscriber,
I got
you
mine.
already
I
have
got
it.
it in the mail. It's good.
Yeah,
It's
no, I
nice.
think the 20th. You'll see it on newsstands.
Gotta
So
check that
look
out.
for it.
Pick it up.
That's
on
one of the greatest
newsstands.
knockouts of all time was when he threw that right hand
Yeah.
against Michael Moore.
Yeah.
That was 1994.
That's a weird
so
knockout.
think of that. He began to come back in early 1987.
Yeah.
Everyone laughed
Remember, he
at
had
him.
the
He was a big
controversial win
joke.
over Shannon Briggs, wasn't he? Didn't he fight Shannon?
Shannon Briggs had a controversial win over him.
Over him.
Everyone
okay,
thought
remember
that
it was
Foreman
controversial.
won.
I
Yeah.
thought Foreman won that fight.
Yeah, I mean, Foreman
What
was like 48 years old.
That's a good question, JP. What were the odds when Foreman fought Michael Moore?
You know, I'd have to
Do you
look
remember?
that up. I'll have to bring it next week. That's a very good question.
Okay, I was just curious on that.
Yeah.
You know, Moore was the favorite.
I remember Moore being the favorite. I have to check. God, what do you think? 3-1? Maybe.
More than that.
I'll find out. I'm going to find that out this week. I'm going to ask
Yeah, that's
somebody.
interesting.
But I remember them doing the Legendary Nights, which was a great documentary series on
Yeah.
HBO. And Michael Moore, 10 years later, was still so bitter about it. And
That's
he said,
just him.
And he said, if George
By
said
the
that-
way, best I faced Michael Moore in the
Yeah.
current issue of Ring Magazine
Oh, there you
with
go.
the 4 heavyweight kings on the cover.
Oh, there you go.
Anthony
wow.
Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Joseph Parker, and the Gypsy King, the lineal champ, Tyson Fury. All 4 of them. We might have a
And
new
it's
golden
timely.
age in the heavyweights.
It's timely
yeah.
with Wilder coming off that big win.
Of course it is.
And how's that Ring Magazine pound for pound belt coming along?
It's coming. It's coming. We will
Who's,
have
who's
it.
the pound for pound champion?
Gennady Golovkin.
Okay.
Anytime I forget,
checking.
I just look at what my
We're just
gear, what
waiting
I'm
at
wearing.
the
I'm
right
like, oh
time
yeah,
to make the presentation.
pound for
I
pound.
mean, the
yeah.
all-natural middleweight champion of the world.
Wait,
Gennady
What's
Golovkin.
Chivas's
Triple G,
all natural.
Winning
line?
the right way.
Winning the right way. There you go.
That's
So
it.
who's on
That's
the
a
next
tagline.
cover after this?
After this one, it will be Anthony Joshua if he wins against Joseph Parker.
That's a
Deontay
good
Wilder.
fight. Parker and Joshua.
Because
is a
it's
good
all
fight.
about. I mean, actually, I'm sorry. The magazine after the heavyweight issue is Canelo Triple G, obviously.
Gotcha.
You know, but the issue after that is back to the heavyweights and an issue devoted to dream matchups.
That's pretty cool.
Like the fights we want to see most in
So
boxing.
you get a little behind the scenes there. for
And
the next-
what's bigger right now than a potential showdown between Joshua and Deontay Wilder?
Nothing big.
Done.
Yeah.
What could top
Besides
that?
the rematch with Triple G.
Exactly.
Yes, well that's done though. We don't have to dream about that.
Right.
It's happening.
You know.
That question to you: will we see Shannon Briggs after his drug test?
Will we see Shannon Briggs on the cover of Ring? I might bring him in as a columnist.
Or just in the ringer, they say.
Hey, I love
Just
Shannon.
will we
I
see
I
don't
him
love
think
Shannon.
Shannon wants to go anywhere near a body test.
Yeah.
Let me know,
Here's the
Shannon.
thing. Here's the thing about Shannon Briggs. He was integral in my career as a boxing
Is that
writer.
true?
So if you don't like me,
Yeah.
blame Shannon. Because Shannon Briggs introduced myself and Gary Randall back when we had just started House of Boxing,
Boxing,
to his
wow.
manager, Mark Roberts.
Mark Roberts, that's
It was
right.
like, this is great. The
Right.
internet's an amazing thing. I'm going to throw a lot of money at you.
Right.
And
Mark Roberts back to House of
yeah,
Boxing.
he backed
Oh, I
it.
didn't know
So
that.
he made
That's
House of
good.
Boxing like this hobby into like a full-time job.
That's great.
Yeah, because he had
That was a
he
triple
had a
threat,
company.
wasn't that triple threat? The
Triple Threat was the management
Shannon
company.
Briggs, It was like
yeah.
the three.
Yeah, he had Ray Mercer, Al Cole, and
Right.
Charles the Natural
Right.
Murray.
Al
But then
Ice Cole.
Al Ice Cole, the cruiserweight
He
champ.
was good.
So good memory, man. So
That was my era.
But it is your era. But he started like an all sports kind of agency that was publicly traded called Worldwide Entertainment and Sports,
Right, yeah.
and they bought House of Boxing.
Okay, I
Like
gotcha.
in '99.
So that's when you got a raise.
That's when I got a raise.
And was Katz with it?
I was teaching here. I was teaching journalism
Oh, yeah?
here.
Here at
Yeah,
Cutler College, see?
yeah. And then just like I was freelance writing and doing House of Boxing on the side. I used to write for all of Don King's fight programs. And then
yeah.
the guy who published those, Ralph Paniagua, had a publication called Latino Boxing.
Okay.
And I would write for them, and I was able to make ends meet doing that, but boxing was not a full-time thing for me until Shannon hooked me up with Mark Roberts, and
good.
thanks to Mr. Roberts. But if you guys can't stand me, if you're mad that I'm around,
Blame-
that I'm doing this, that I'm living
blame
this dream,
Shannon Briggs.
blame Shannon Briggs.
Let's go,
Let's
champ.
go, champ!
Let's go, champ.
Let's go, champ! Yeah. And by the way, if clenbuterol is ever found in Shannon Briggs' system, it's all in the up and up
He
because
didn't
he's
get it
got
from you,
asthma.
right?
He's got asthma.
All right.
He's the asthmatic assassin. And so if there's clenbuterol in his system, don't hate on him, man. If there's anything else in his system, well, okay.
Don't
whatever.
hate on anybody.
Yeah, and marijuana's legal in California now, right? Because I know he likes his
That's
weed.
what they say.
Okay, all right. But now Shannon's a great guy. I mean, it's like a pro wrestler who was a heavyweight boxer. You know what I mean? Like he
was
had
also
to
good
stick
stuff.
down.
That was one of the highest rated Klitschko fights that RTL had in Germany. Was
Yeah.
Klitschko versus Shannon Briggs.
Of course.
That was Vitaly, and that was one of their highest. They had like 7 million homes watching them. It was
Klitschko's
it
did
was-
crazy numbers in
I know,
German
17.
television.
Sorry, 17 million
Yes.
households. And and Shannon. I mean, as durable as that guy was, he went the distance. You know,
That fight
had
should've been
his
He was in the
torn
hospital. He was
bicep,
busted. It was-
fractured the
that-
orbital bone.
They
He
should have
was in the
stopped that
hospital
fight.
for like 2
Oh,
years. They should have stopped
They
that
should have
fight.
stopped that fight.
At
That was
that point,
terrible.
they should have stopped it.
Who'd you bet on that fight, Jake?
Vitaly, but they should have stopped that fight.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
I'm curious about
JP's
those.
like, stop the fight.
Hey, is your kid betting already?
No, he's not going to bet. He's not allowed to. He's not allowed
By you or your wife?
to. Her.
Her.
Yeah. I
All
allow
right.
him to do whatever he
I
wants.
guess we need to
Yeah.
sign off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, this has been
Hey,
good.
Samir,
Thanks
thanks for
for
coming.
showing us.
Thanks
No
for
problem.
coming, Samir.
Thank you, Samir.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Samir.
Yep.
March
Samir, we
27th.
got to get you a hoodie.
Yeah,
That's right.
Definitely.
Well, we
We
got
talk to Mike Styles at
I'll work at
shopggg.com.
Shop
360
GGG.
Promotions. Follow on Twitter. 360 Promotions. March 27th.
That's right.
Go after
All right.
work.
Yeah.
Go after
How do you
work.
get there, dude?
It's,
Meet the
it's
coach.
easy. There's so
Meet the
many
coach.
ways to get there.
And you drive
can-
like how? How do you
and-
drive?
How do you drive there?
Well, you drive like you just won the lottery.
So don't
Yeah.
text on the way to the
But
Avalon
if
Theater.
if you're going to partake of the club atmosphere
Yeah.
and have a few drinks,
Yeah.
Uber or
Uber
Lyft.
for sure.
Yeah.
Or the
Uber or
Metro.
Lyft, or take the Metro.
Right.
Yeah, the Metro's right
And then
there.
you can really
Right,
chill.
Hollywood and Vine, right
Up,
there.
right at,
Yep.
almost on the corner. It's going to be incredible.
In fact, we're going to have a deal with one of the ride services. So anyone that
cool.
leaves, they'll get a discounted rate.
Very
Anyone
good.
that
Oh, that's
leaves,
awesome.
the Avalon.
That's cool.
Because we're going to promote drinking, but we're also going to promote safe driving afterwards.
Responsibility. Yes.
Right.
And
We
safe driving.
We want
the
to
most
see
important
Steve
thing.
Kim drunk tweeting from the Avalanche
Okay.
tonight.
There you go.
We're going to encourage. We're going to have all you can eat and drink for the media. So all the media is going to. That
Yeah.
includes you, Doug.
Yeah, you're going to be promoter of the year, no matter what. Media loves Tom.
Hey, I don't know how you do all this, Tom. Really.
Hey, Tom drove to Big Bear. He
Yeah.
drove. Tom and Mike Stiles. That's a
That's right. Oh,
tough trip.
Doug came up to Big Bear Dog and
Yeah.
Steve Kim.
And we've got some
Last week.
interviews. We got a video interview with.
That was right after the Canelo news broke.
Yeah.
You know, we had that day planned,
Yeah.
and it was 2 days after the Canelo
Yeah,
news.
and I thought Gennady handled it well. I mean, he was raw. He wasn't like hiding his feelings or whatever. But so let me tell you something.
It's a serious topic.
His spirits are good. Like he was in a good mood when we got there. He was in a good mood. He loves training. He loves being in that gym, and that gym is going to be like Kronk Gym in Detroit during the '80s. Because they've got so many guys. Who's that guy? Ali Akhmedov? That light heavyweight, another light heavyweight player, soon to be. Watch out for him.
Yeah.
But Sergei Boychuk, I was
Boychuk
watching
was
him
there, Ryan
spar
Martin
with
was
with Michael Soro,
Right.
who's world
Soro,
class.
world class, yeah, you're
World class
right.
junior middleweight. and
Crazy
then Boychuk's
amateur
a
career.
welterweight, and then a 6'4" middleweight
Yeah.
prospect. This kid, I mean, he's so skinny. He looks like JP's build. He's so strong, and he's got so much power. Wow, I can't wait to
Abel
watch
has
him.
a lot of
Yeah.
world-class fighters with their Saucedo trains
Yes.
up there.
Yeah, but there's a
Ruslan
lot of
Madiev.
young talent there, and Ben Lira brings all this talent.
Ruslan had a win.
Yeah.
He won the Marconi belt on Friday night.
Angel Martinez, I think.
No, Thursday night. Sorry, Ruslan Madiev.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Madiev. Yeah.
From Kazakhstan.
Yeah,
Yes.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, that's the private show, right?
Yeah, that was the private show.
It's in Tustin.
Yeah, that was
Okay,
it.
one of these
Oh, they
days.
had one of
the
those.
Marconi
Yeah, one of these
belt,
days
yeah.
I'll go to those. Yeah. I'm not quite big time enough yet, but one of these days it'll happen.
Never heard of him.
Anyway,
Now that I'm editor of the ring, I might.
JP, thanks
an
for
invite to
JP,
Thanks,
thanks
JP.
for coming.
Always-
Thank you guys. That was fun.
Always good to have you
Yeah.
on the show.
So, do you have any other picks?
I'll say the nail, and well, obviously he's going to be a big favorite, but Ramirez Imam should be a good fight.
Yes.
So that should be a good fight. That's a good main
That's
event.
on Showtime, right?
I think
ESPN.
ESPN
Oh, no, that's
next week.
ESPN. That's right.
ESPN
That's
next
ESPN.
week, and I think that's the main card. There's not really. I know the Golden Boys got a small card.
Yeah, they have the LA Fight
Sinisa
Club
on Friday night.
Right,
So-
on Friday.
He's headlining.
Yes,
Headlining
he's
that.
headlining,
Is
yeah.
that the Velasco? Where's
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Anyone? Everyone have a great week. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Doug. JP, Dina,
See you next week.
Leo,
Leo,
Samir.
parents.
Anyway, drive carefully, be happy, love everything, love
And
everyone.
let the people in front of you, right?
Yeah,
If someone wants to come
exactly.
in.
It feels
yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
You get them by surprise.
And they
don't-
wave, and it makes their day, makes
Yeah.
your day.
Yeah, and then they
it's,
do someone else.
Right. And don't text and drive, right?
I don't think so.
And don't tweet and drive either.
Don't tweet and drive.
Don't tweet and drive. And no